Myanmar is a country locked in a bitter civil war. The conflict, reignited by a military coup in February 2021, has plunged the nation into chaos and violence. The Tatmadaw, as Myanmar's armed forces are known, seized power from the democratically elected government. This act sparked widespread resistance, quickly escalating into a full-blown civil war. Today, the conflict has reached a stalemate. The military junta, despite its superior firepower, has been unable to quell the resistance. The opposition, a diverse coalition of ethnic armed groups and newly formed People's Defense Forces, has effectively countered the Tatmadaw's might. They have done so through guerrilla tactics and the widespread support of the populace. The conflict has had a devastating impact on Myanmar. The civilian population bears the brunt of the violence. The Tatmadaw, notorious for its brutality, has been accused of widespread human rights abuses. These abuses include indiscriminate killings, torture, and arbitrary detention. The United Nations estimates that over 1 million people have been internally displaced since the coup. The conflict has also exacerbated existing ethnic tensions. Myanmar is home to a complex tapestry of ethnic groups, many of whom have long-standing grievances with the central government. The coup has only deepened these divisions, further complicating the path to peace. Since the coup, the resistance movement has made significant gains, challenging the Tatmadaw's grip on power. The rebels, once confined to the country's peripheries, have expanded their control. They now hold sway over vast swathes of territory, particularly in rural areas. One of the most notable rebel victories has been in the country's northwest. The Arakan Army, an ethnic Rakhine armed group, has effectively established control over much of Rakhine state. This control includes strategically important border areas with Bangladesh. In the north, the Kachin Independence Army, another powerful ethnic armed group, has intensified its operations. The Kachin Independence Army has inflicted heavy casualties on the Tatmadaw and disrupted vital supply lines. Their success has been attributed to their superior knowledge of the terrain and the support of the local Kachin population. The emergence of the People's Defense Forces has further bolstered the resistance. These civilian militias, formed in response to the coup, have played a crucial role in urban warfare. Armed with rudimentary weapons and fueled by a desire to restore democracy, the People's Defense Forces have engaged the Tatmadaw in hit-and-run attacks. They have also provided vital intelligence to the ethnic armed groups. The Tatmadaw, facing stiff resistance, has resorted to brutal tactics in a desperate attempt to crush the opposition. Outnumbered and outmaneuvered on the ground, the military has unleashed a campaign of terror against the civilian population. Air power has become a central element of the Tatmadaw's strategy. Unable to dislodge the rebels from their strongholds, the military has conducted indiscriminate air strikes on suspected rebel positions. These strikes have resulted in widespread civilian casualties and displacement. Villages suspected of harboring or supporting the resistance have been razed to the ground. Schools, hospitals, and places of worship have not been spared, further highlighting the military's disregard for human life. The Tatmadaw has also employed a scorched earth policy in many areas. Crops have been destroyed, livestock slaughtered, and wells poisoned in a calculated attempt to deprive the resistance of food and supplies. This tactic has had a devastating impact on the civilian population, pushing many to the brink of starvation. Despite their successes, the resistance movement faces significant challenges. The conflict has exposed the limitations of their struggle against a heavily armed and entrenched military junta. One of the most pressing challenges is the fragmented nature of the resistance. The opposition comprises a diverse array of groups with differing ethnicities, ideologies, and objectives. This lack of cohesion has made it difficult to coordinate strategy and military operations. Another challenge is the lack of resources. While the resistance has received some support from sympathetic countries and diaspora communities, they remain outgunned and outmatched by the Tatmadaw. The military possesses a formidable arsenal, including fighter jets, attack helicopters, and heavy artillery. In contrast, the resistance relies heavily on captured weapons, homemade explosives, and rudimentary firearms. The resistance also faces logistical challenges. Operating in remote and often inhospitable terrain, they struggle to transport supplies, ammunition, and medical equipment. This lack of logistical capacity hinders their ability to sustain prolonged offensives or effectively defend captured territory. Section 5. The Tatmadaws' struggles, a grip beginning to falter. The Tatmadaw, despite its superior firepower and brutal tactics, is facing mounting challenges. The conflict has exposed vulnerabilities within the military, raising questions about its ability to maintain control in the long term. One of the most significant challenges facing the Tatmadaw is manpower. The military relies heavily on conscription, and the brutal crackdown on dissent has made it increasingly difficult to recruit and retain soldiers. Desertions have become commonplace, and morale among the rank and file is reportedly low. The Tatmadaw is also facing a financial crunch. International sanctions, coupled with the economic fallout from the coup, have taken a toll on the military's finances. This economic hardship has limited the Tatmadaw's ability to procure weapons, ammunition, and other essential supplies. The conflict has also taken a toll on the Tatmadaw's reputation. The military's brutality has alienated many within Myanmar, including those who once supported the institution. The Tatmadaw's legitimacy has been further eroded by its failure to quell the resistance or restore stability to the country. Section 6. The international factor, pressure and inaction. The international community has largely condemned the coup and the Tatmadaw's brutal crackdown. However, concrete action has been limited, and the junta has faced few meaningful consequences for its actions. The United States, the European Union, and several other countries have imposed sanctions on the Tatmadaw leadership and their business interests. However, these sanctions have had a limited impact on the junta's behavior. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, of which Myanmar is a member, has attempted to mediate the conflict. However, ASEAN's efforts have been hampered by its own internal divisions and the Tatmadaw's intransigence. China, a major regional power and longtime ally of Myanmar, has refrained from condemning the coup. China's economic and strategic interests in Myanmar have led it to adopt a cautious approach, providing tacit support to the junta. Section 7. Potential outcomes, a crossroads of possibilities. The trajectory of the conflict remains uncertain. With several potential outcomes possible, the situation is fluid, and the balance of power could shift rapidly depending on internal and external factors. One potential outcome is a continued stalemate. The Tatmadaw, unable to crush the resistance, may be forced to accept a de facto partition of the country. The resistance, lacking the capacity to defeat the military outright, may settle for autonomy in their respective regions. Another possibility is a negotiated settlement. The Tatmadaw, facing mounting pressure and dwindling resources, may be open to dialogue with the opposition. However, any negotiated solution would require significant concessions from both sides, including a power-sharing agreement and a roadmap for democratic transition. A less likely but still possible outcome is a decisive victory for either side. The resistance, if they can overcome their internal divisions and secure significant external support, could potentially overthrow the junta. However, this scenario remains unlikely given the Tatmadaw's superior firepower and its willingness to use brutal tactics. Section 8. The most likely scenario, a protracted struggle. Given the current dynamics of the conflict, the most likely scenario appears to be a protracted struggle. Neither the Tatmadaw nor the resistance seems capable of achieving a decisive victory in the short term. The Tatmadaw, despite its brutality and superior firepower, has been unable to crush the resistance. The military is facing mounting challenges, including manpower shortages, financial constraints, and declining morale. The resistance, while making significant gains, faces its own set of obstacles. The fragmented nature of the opposition, coupled with their lack of resources and logistical challenges, limits their ability to deliver a knockout blow to the Tatmadaw. A protracted conflict would have devastating consequences for Myanmar. The civilian population would continue to bear the brunt of the violence, with widespread displacement, human rights abuses, and economic hardship. Section 9. Conclusion. An uncertain future. The civil war in Myanmar is a tragedy of immense proportions. The conflict, triggered by a military coup, has plunged the nation into chaos and violence. The Tatmadaws' brutality has drawn international condemnation, but concrete action has been limited. The conflict has reached a stalemate, with neither side able to achieve a decisive victory. The resistance, despite its successes, faces significant challenges. The Tatmadaw, though still powerful, is showing signs of strain. The future of Myanmar hangs in the balance. The most likely scenario appears to be a protracted conflict with devastating consequences for the civilian population. A negotiated settlement, though difficult, remains the only viable path to peace. The international community has a moral obligation to do more to pressure the Tatmadaw to end the violence and engage in dialogue with the opposition. The people of Myanmar deserve a future free from fear and oppression, a future where their voices are heard and their rights are respected.
So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and let's turn the page on a new adventure together. Get ready to experience books like never before, only on VBook 360. Like, comment, and share to support the channel and keep the video magic alive. Thank you for stopping by. And remember, every video has a story, and every story deserves to be shared. See you in the next video.